Hello, dear friends and esteemed fellow travelers on the path to truth. Welcome back to my channel and to this new discussion, where we will touch upon the deepest secrets of your heart. Today we are going to talk about perhaps the most mystical, most challenging, and yet most necessary phase of the spiritual journey, the soul's mandatory solitude, the dark night of the soul. If you're listening to me right now, you have likely experienced this sweet excitement, the honeymoon period of spiritual awakening. But what happens when that light is suddenly withdrawn? Is it a personal failure? Absolutely not. This state is a painful yet sacred call to transformation, preparing your soul for an unshakable level of consciousness. If you are struggling with this spiritual melancholy, you must watch this video until the end, because we will provide the complete guide to surrender and the concrete strategies for achieving an unshakable, permanent inner peace. This term was first defined by the great 16th century mystic, poet, and Carmelite friar St. John of the Cross in his profound experiences. He described this process as a necessary and passive stage of purification that the soul must undergo before achieving ultimate union, or unio mystica. St. John called it the night because during this time, everything familiar becomes uncertain. All comforts, even spiritual ones, are lost, and our only reliable guide is the mandatory faith remaining within us. There is no visible sign or concrete evidence for the mind to grasp. This is an intellectual and emotional blindness, teaching us that we must walk with inner trust, without external guidance or the promise of immediate reward. If this resonates with you so far, please take a moment to hit the like button to help this video reach other searching souls, and subscribe to our channel to continue these deep discussions. Now let's delve into the deep and layered effects this dark journey creates within the individual. The most distinct feeling of this night is spiritual insensitivity and the feeling of abandonment. All the practices that once nourished your soul, your daily prayers, devotions, even acts of charity, now feel dry and meaningless. You feel that the divine connection has been severed, that the universe has turned its back on you. In Sufism, this is called the Qabḍ state, constriction. The spiritual joy is completely withdrawn, and the soul is left in spiritual narrowness. This compels the individual to consider abandoning all spiritual pursuits, believing they no longer work. However, this spiritual void is essential because it forces the soul to develop the capacity to love the truth for its own sake, not just for the comfort and pleasure it provides. In addition to this spiritual drought, a deep existential melancholy and aimlessness descends upon you. With the loss of initial fervor, everything in your life, whether worldly or spiritual, seems to lose its meaning. Questions like, who am I? What is all this suffering for? And where did my purpose go? Haunt the mind, often leading to days of profound sadness. Your worldly successes, career, relationships, and material gains lose their value. Your old identity feels restrictive, like a coat you long to shed, but your new identity has not yet fully formed. This is the soul's identity crisis, a state of purgatory where you can neither fully remain worldly nor fully unite with the divine. The most painful and profound part of this night is the process of ego breakdown and shadow confrontation. The dark night forces you to descend into the deepest corners of your subconscious. Similar to Carl Jung's concept of shadow work, all the shadows, flaws, fears, and false beliefs you suppressed throughout your life surface with merciless intensity. All the self-defining stories you told yourself of being a good person or successful person are shattered in this darkness. The ego fights fiercely for its survival, creating intense anxiety, shame, anger, and resistance. This is the soul's mandatory detox, a cycle of death and rebirth where the false must be destroyed for the real to emerge. During this process, the individual often feels isolated, misunderstood, and completely alone, as the depth of this experience makes it virtually incomprehensible to outsiders. So why do we need such a painful and challenging process? Why does the divine power, which is meant to purify us, inflict this feeling of darkness and deprivation? This is not a punishment, but a sacred purpose, a divine grace. First, this night exists to deliver us from spiritual gluttony and spiritual selfishness. Initially, we become addicted to the pleasure and comfort we derive from spiritual practice. but the divine demands that we love it unconditionally without reward, simply for the sake of existence itself. When all comforts are stripped away, what remains is that bare submission, the highest expression of pure love. Secondly, this night is absolutely necessary to dismantle your false self or ego. The ego, no matter how grandly it defines itself spiritually, must be challenged by this darkness. It strips away the desire for control and forces the individual to fully surrender to the divine will. The ego cannot crack without this force, and the soul cannot be freed. For true enlightenment is the shrinking, not the inflation of the ego. Thirdly and finally, this process teaches you true trust and ultimate union. You stop relying on external guides, external rituals, or concrete results. In that bottomless void where you don't know what to do or where to go, you are left with only one option: complete surrender. According to St. John, in this night, God cleanses the soul of its flawed self-knowledge and prepares it for divine comprehension, or kenosis, emptying. The soul is being purified by the divine itself because it has exceeded its own capacity. The greater the difficulty, the more permanent and profound the enlightenment, wisdom, and love that follow. So, what can we do while navigating this challenging journey? First and foremost, stop fighting the darkness and accept it. Resistance only prolongs the suffering. Accept that this period is not a mistake, but a sacred purification. Instead of fighting, surrender to the flow. Trust the river to take you where you need to go. Remember that your soul is in passive purification, so do not overwhelm it with excessive practices. Instead of the pressure to mediate more, shift your focus to basic daily tasks, to service, and to your responsibilities. Find the sacredness within the ordinary. The most critical point is not to believe the feelings that tell you you've been abandoned. These feelings are the night's deception. Hold your faith as a reality, not merely an emotion. Know that love is always there even if you cannot feel it. And do not be harsh on yourself. Approach yourself with the same compassion you would offer a struggling friend. Do not forget that no one going through this is truly alone. Do not hesitate to speak with a spiritual guide or therapist who has walked this path before. They can help you see the light at the end of the tunnel. My dear friend, the dark night of the soul is a grace bestowed upon you. The deeper the darkness, the brighter the dawn that awaits you. When the ego has completely melted away and the false self is dead, what remains is only pure, unconditional love, permanent wisdom, and unshakable inner peace. You are no longer dependent on consolation. You are united with the source itself. Those who walk through this darkness with courage are the ones who grasp the true meaning of light forever. I wish you patience, compassion, and deep trust on this difficult journey. You are not alone. And one final request: if this text resonated with you and brought light to your journey, please share your experiences in the comments right now, subscribe to our channel, and like this video to help these profound conversations reach other searching souls. Until our next deep conversation, stay in the light and love.